Have you heard of the International Space Station? This station represents, without a doubt, the most important scientific and technological collaboration efforts in our history. And what's the science behind the space station? Hi everyone, welcome to our channel. If you're new here, kindly hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell to get more videos like this. Without further ado, let's get started. Let's start with the parts. The International Space Station, International Space Station ISS, is a project that required the collaboration of 15 countries to be built, and currently, 5 of the most important space agencies participate in its administration and operation of the planet. And they are the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, of the United States, the State Space Corporation, also known as Roscosmos, of Russia, the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, JAXA, of Japan, the European Space Agency, ESA, of the European Community, and the Canadian Space Agency, CSA, of Canada. The International Space Station is the largest man-made object in space and the largest man-made Earth satellite that can be easily seen with the naked eye from the surface. It travels at an average altitude of 420 kilometers above the Earth's surface with an approximate speed of 27,600 kilometers per hour. That is, it completes an orbit around the planet every 92 minutes, giving a total of 15 times around the Earth in one day. What is the International Space Station like? The station is divided into 2 sections: the Russian Orbital Segment, ROS, operated by Russia, and the American Orbital Segment, United States Orbital Segment, USOS, shared by several nations. The Russian module is the one that provides the thrust to keep the station in the correct orbit, while the American section is where most of the scientific experiments are carried out. Up to 6 astronauts live in the space complex, although it was originally designed to house only 3 people. To get an idea of the space available to astronauts, it's worth saying that it is the size of 1.5 passenger cabins of a large plane, Boeing 747, and in it, the astronauts carry out scientific experiments, maintain the station, and follow an exercise routine of 2 hours a day to counteract the effects of living in microgravity environment. The International Space Station has been continuously inhabited since November 2, 2020, with a crew rotation period of 6 months. Innumerable scientific experiments related to medicines for the treatment against cancer and muscular dystrophy, microgravity, and terrestrial and astronomical observation have been carried out there. And more than 3 million photographs of the Earth's surface have also been generated, available to the public, which have been used for research, education, and to respond to situations of environmental risk. Sincerely, the data that has been generated on the International Space Station has made it possible to build a database available to the general public, which has also been used in ecological research and climate modeling. Although the International Space Station is scheduled to cease its operation in the year 2030 and disintegrate upon entering the planet's atmosphere, the recent war between Russia and Ukraine could accelerate the dismantling of the station, since the Roscosmos Space Agency has indicated that they will stop providing their support to the station if the economic sanction measuring against Russia did not cease. We hope that this does not happen, and the International Space Station can continue to provide us with the service until the scheduled time. What's the importance of science on the space station? The International Space Station is a permanent laboratory located 400 kilometers from the Earth where the force of gravity has been suppressed. This has curious consequences. An astronaut just sneezes to be propelled backward, with a force as intense as a sneeze. The candle flame is perfectly spherical. Water does not form bubbles when boiling. But curiosities aside, the lack of gravity can be very useful for research in many fields. The station is ideal laboratory for studying several aspects of man's extended absence from Earth in the biological sciences. Is it conceivable to raise vegetables in microgravity? Maybe for the crew of the future Mars mission to eat themselves? And also breed animals? Some of the human body's responses to the protracted lack of gravity are previously recognized. Astronauts know that, among other things, their bones will lose density, and that's something they combat through daily exercise. And also their body fluids will redistribute, causing their face to swell and their legs to become thinner. Frankly speaking, astronauts are said to put bird legs on them. But you need to know much more. For example, outside the atmosphere, astronauts are exposed to radiation, sometimes very high-energy particles from the solar wind and sources outside the solar system. What is the long-term effect on health? The study of proteins is also related to the life sciences. In microgravity, it's easier to grow protein crystals, which in turn allows once on Earth to find their structure. And knowing the structure of proteins can be useful, ultimately in designing new drugs to understanding the basic mechanism of the organism. Other areas where less gravity is key are new materials and fluid physics. In microgravity, it's possible to grow, for example, metallic foams, materials that are very light and resistant at the same time, and even fabrics. And experiments in fluid physics can, among other things, provide clues to increase the efficiency of fuels in cars and airplanes. For all these reasons, the station will have 6 laboratories. Columbus is the European laboratory, which should be launched shortly. The Spanish astronaut Pedro Duque has already participated in the development of the Columbus, and his flight to the ISS will serve to complete the assembly of the space station. Scientific experiment of space stations to fight against diseases and to improve life on Earth. The International Space Station, ISS, has been a leading scientific laboratory practically since its construction in 1998. More than 3,000 experiments have been carried out in its facilities in unique conditions of weightlessness, which have provided key knowledge to relaunch the conquest of space, but also important advances in the fight against diseases and to improve life on Earth. The station is currently operating at 100% capacity. The interior of the ISS, which is at an altitude of 400 kilometers, is about the size of a football field and is divided into small spaces, like a beehive. The tenants of the orbital base, which is scheduled to close in 2028, carry out experiments piloted by researchers from Earth and serve as guinea pigs. The new crew has 100 experiments on its to-do list, such as cerebral aging, to study the aging of brain nerve cells, and the Telemac, which consists of an acoustic clamp to manipulate objects without contact, or the EcoPack, a new generation of wrappers. The astronauts take turns in laboratory tasks. On board the ISS, the human organism, so well adapted to gravity, is shaken like in a blender, and the degradation observed in the bones and arteries is assimilated to cellular aging. The difference is that when returning to Earth, the phenomenon is reversible. What is interesting is to study how the body works to return to balance, offering possible clues for the development of anti-aging treatments. It is lifelong learning. Just at the beginning, it was necessary to take medical material to space. Now it is space that provides us with resources of this type, since weightlessness gives us a greater understanding of diseases. Advances against osteoporosis and salmonellosis, or new water purification systems are some of the successes. In these 2 decades, there were important discoveries on board the ISS, according to American historian Robert Pearlman, who cites other promising projects, such as the 3D printing of organs. Critical voices, however, reject the high cost of research, which helps NASA reduce maintenance costs and concentrate resources on further space exploration. Despite everything, for many scientists, whether in the medical field, material sciences, or other fields of knowledge, the orbital base is the only way to carry out certain investigations, since these require overcoming gravity. There will always be a community eager to study non-gravity phenomena. NASA says goodbye to the space station. This will be from 2030, and the idea is to put a commercial station there. When you think about it, it seems incredible, but the International Space Station, which orbits the Earth and is investigated by many scientists and astronauts, has been around for 21 years. It's not trivial to endure such an inhospitable and extreme environment, such as space, for so long. For this reason, NASA has recently published a report outlining the future of the base. NASA has promised to replace the ISS with 1 or more commercially owned and operated space stations in advance of its decommissioning. The station was designed with a life expectancy of 15 years, with a safety factor of 2, which means it could last 30 years after the launch of its first segments in 1998. And NASA is optimistic about, so that the life of the station can be prolonged until 2030. The ISS costs about $3 billion a year, about a third of NASA's annual budget for human spaceflight. Commercial companies could provide new installations at a better price. Additionally, the emergence of a new market for commercial low-orbit destinations has prompted NASA to completely overhaul the station by then. Despite this, the report states that the dismantle of the ISS and its deorbiting will not be easy at all and will require international cooperation. If you want to visit the International Space Station, use the right site. That will guide you to a page in Google Earth that allows you to virtually visit different modules of the station. You just need to click on the photos that appear on the right, and that's it. You'll be able to know the station as if you were in it. And if you want to know the exact location of the station, you can download the ISS Detector application available on Google Play, and with which you can also explore a map of the night sky and the celestial bodies visible in your area. That's all for today, folks. Thank you for spending some time with us. If you found this video interesting, let us know what you think in the comment box. Make sure to hit the like button and notification bell, and subscribe to our channel to get access to more interesting videos from us. While you're here, kindly click on one of the other 2 videos you see on your screen. See you there!